Hey there to you out in podcast land. We have something big coming.
That's right. Get ready, guys. Whoop, whoop, because podcast week kicks off July 7th.
We're dropping bonus episodes, giving away some pretty awesome prizes, and sharing curated playlists just for you and whatever's challenging you right now.
Plus, we've got super fun games and lots of surprises that are going to make your week just a little bit, no, just a lot more joyful.
Yeah, don't lie to them, Brie. It's a lot more joyful.
Don't downplay it. Come on.
So now's the time. Subscribe, tell your mom friends, and get ready. No Guilt Mom Podcast Week starts July 7th. My husband came back and I tell him, I'm like, yeah, it was a great trip. I don't have anything to complain about. And he sits there and he says, maybe the reason I don't like vacationing with the kids is me. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast. I'm your host, JoAnn Crone, joined here by the brilliant Brie Tucker.
Why? Hello, everybody. How you doing?
We're talking about vacation. It's so funny because I remember my sister-in-law was talking to me about vacation with kids this age, and her kids are almost 6 and 9. And she's like, it's not really a vacation, it's a trip. And that's how it is.
That is how it is. That is. Honestly, this past spring break, I think was my first vacation that I had very little that I had to take care of. Well, let me take that back. I go on vacations all the time with my husband, but when my kids are involved, yeah, this was probably the first vacation that I got to take where I was not in charge of so much stuff. And it was nice.
I've never had that because I guess it goes back to, I saw yesterday on Instagram, our friend Tara, she posted a reel and she's like, the secret to a stress-free vacation, bring grandma. Because
that's not a bad idea. Those are my favorite trips, the ones that have my rest of my family, because then it's like, I'm just going to leave the kids with you. I'm going to go for a little while.
Exactly, because you were asking me before we started, think about when we took my daughter to Scotland when she was 3, like how much did I have to do? And I'm like, I didn't, because we had the whole extended family there. We could rely on the family. Did I have resentment when the entire family decided to go out to a fancy French restaurant that we knew our 3-year-old would tear up the place and we could go with them? A little bit. But I mean, that's the nature of having young kids.
Yes.
Not less resentment, more like, I wish I could go.
I know. Depending upon the age of your kids, you have different challenges you have to overcome. And like I was saying, and you guys know, I have 2 teenagers. One just graduated high school. The other is going to be a senior this year. And I'm telling you, this past spring break was my first vacation where I wasn't mentally in charge of something continuously throughout the trip. Either helping the kids pack and then moving to the next thing of like figuring out the food once we get there, because we tend to do the whole like Airbnb renting a house type thing. And it was a lot. So I was thinking about that. And I also had saw like a comedy routine where this guy was complaining about how his wife had him carry a cooler and that just made his vacation so hard. And I'm like, oh, bite me. You have no idea how much trouble we go through and how much stress it is every time we're trying to figure out what to do for vacation.
See, I'm like the opposite. I think I've had a vacation a lot with my kids where I haven't thought of the things, but I do a lot less and I do a lot of preparation than you do. And do I run into certain challenges? Yes, I do, that I have not prepared for, but we're going to talk about that today. So we're going to give you some actionable ways that if you're tired just planning for your upcoming trip, you're not alone. A lot of moms go through this. Shout out to Marie Chris in our balance community who was just talking about this morning at Body Doubling. She's packing for a cruise, Brie. They're going on a cruise.
Oh, fun.
And they leave in 3 weeks and she's already started the packing process for everybody.
Oh, yeah. That's me. That's
you.
I relate.
It's not me.
That
is not me. So you'll hear both Brie and I's different perspectives on it, and we'll give you some actionable tips as well to make this a vacation, the one where you can relax, laugh, and maybe even like enjoy a little cocktail or two on your own. So
yeah, maybe you don't have to wait till your kids are 18 to have the vacation.
Yeah. So with that, let's get on with the show.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too.
Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast.
Okay, everybody. We decided that I'm going to start this one out because I'm the one who has had the working vacations. And when I say working vacations, I don't mean it like taking my laptop and working. I mean trying to plan the vacation for everybody. So I have for years been in charge of packing for everyone. And even once my kids got old enough to do their own packing, I was still the one who had to check it to make sure they did a good job. And you might be saying to yourself, even JoAnn, you might be like shaking your head going, you don't need to check it. They don't have it. They don't have it. That is true. That is true. Although let me remind you of a vacation that I had to go buy some feminine products for my daughter before we went. I bought an entire box, gave it to her, told her to pack. We get to Mexico. She comes out to me like a few hours into our trip and is like, hey, I need more feminine products. And I'm like, what do you mean? I just bought you a whole box. Didn't you bring the whole box? Well, no, I only brought 2 or 3. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I had to buy a $20 box of feminine products at the resort in Mexico to make up for the one that they didn't pack. So that's why. That's an example of why I still have to like check.
Okay.
But I have more. But yes.
Okay, well, we could get into this because I have things for that. So in the
Well,
case
hold
of the
on.
box of, okay.
Hold on that one.
Okay.
Also, I have to normally plan the itinerary. I have to figure out where we're going, that everybody can come up with ideas, because I can't stand it when someone says, there's nothing to do here. I don't like that. I'm so bored. So like I try to make sure that we have at least one activity a day that goes directly to each person's wants and dreams. Yes, I realize I'm putting a lot of myself, but that's me. Then you're managing the breakdowns, the fights. In my family, I am pretty much the one who helps hold everybody together. I'm the glue, I'm the translator. So when there's a fight between people or a disagreement, I'm the one that has to come in and like smooth it over. I've always held that role. I hold it in my family I grew up in, and I hold it in my family now. And then the fact too that you're still the default parent, but with humidity.
Okay. That's a lot that you put on yourself. That's a whole lot.
I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not
No,
alone
you're
on that.
not.
And I do fight back, and there are things that I do like let go of. But in general, that's what vacation means to me.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I do not pack for everyone. And we have had instances where somebody, most likely my son, has forgotten something. He is the boy who's going to wear the same outfit for 5 days in a row. He does it here at home. Do I like it? No. But is he in control of his body? He's in control of his body.
True.
I can't, I give up the power where I don't need it so that I can keep the power where I do need it. And I figure like the clothing
Smart.
fight is just not worth it to me
Yeah.
because I could have a bigger impact other places where I think it should. So like he forgets that. He forgets underwear. That's been an issue once where we've been like, I taught him how to wash his underwear in the sink to solve that problem. So it was like, wash the underwear,
I
hang it
mean,
over.
honestly,
We're
that's
good.
a life skill, because
It's a
at
life
some point we've
skill.
all watched underwear in a sink.
Yes.
So let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah. And the packing thing, like toothbrush and toothpaste are usually the most forgotten items. Those items I know when staying at hotels and stuff, usually life hack, you can call down to the front desk and they have all of these different toiletries available to you. In fact, I'm surprised that they didn't have feminine products available through the front desk and give it to you for free. So like at the recent hotel we stayed at in New York, it was just Moxie, the hotel brand through Marriott. So it was nothing fancy. They had this stuff called the stash. It was a closet on the floor where you used your hotel room key to open up the closet. And in it, they had feminine products in there. And they had like extra rolls of toilet paper and like all of these different things like you could take for your room, razors, toothbrush, toothpaste, stuff like that.
Okay.
I thought it was a really smart idea.
That makes me feel bad about our choices to always stay at an Airbnb because they don't have the extra stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that idea of a stash and just being able to go to the hall closet like at home and just pull it out.
Yeah. So at first, I was very against staying at hotels, but I'm sure you've heard all of this stuff about over tourism lately. Have you heard this conversation going on?
Enlighten me a little more.
Places in Italy, Spain in particular, Barcelona, they are finding that their entire culture is being invaded by tourists every summer. Their home prices are going up because people are buying houses in the area and then using them to rent as Airbnbs for tourists so that the
Ah,
locals are being priced out of the market.
I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have been feeling better about staying at hotels lately because hotels are there because they want you as a tourist and you're not raising the home prices for other people in the area by staying at a hotel.
Very good point.
So
Very
that
good
makes
point.
me feel better about
Yeah.
staying at a hotel because I was too on the Airbnb thing. So they have all those things at the front desk. So I always think about that when I'm traveling, that the necessary things will be there.
Yeah.
In terms of itinerary, here's how I go in, the attitude I have, Brie.
Okay.
I did all of this work, and if you guys are not happy with it, you could do the work next time. Because it's true. Like, there is so much into planning stuff for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I could put plans on the table. And what I found, my family gets really stressed out by plans. We need a lot of downtime. We need to manage our energy. And so usually we'll like plan like one event per day. And then everything else is kind of, oh, yeah, we feel like doing that. That's cool. We feel like doing that. That's cool. That sort of thing. So it's a little more, less planned, more spontaneous.
Yeah. I'm wondering if thinking back to the more involved vacations, which we didn't do a ton when my kids were little, my ex was not big on traveling. So most of our vacations were just going to visit family. But I'm willing to have like an introspective moment here. Maybe the reason I have always been caught doing so much is because at home, I try to keep the house on schedule too.
Mm,
And as you know me so well, you know I love a good schedule. Even today, you finished a task early and you messaged me on Slack and you're like, I'm ready if you want to start recording. I'm like, can we stick to our regularly scheduled programming?
yes. And
I'm
then
sure
my
you were
side
like,
comment to myself, I'm like, Brie better be on damn time.
right? I'm
Yes.
sure. I'm sure. So, like, I'm sure some of it is like a self fulfilled prophecy. My kids are so used to, and my family is so used to me being in charge that they probably think I enjoy it, which I
Mhm.
don't. I feel like I have to do it out of necessity. So that's something on me. I think before we have vacations, I would have done better when they were younger if I had vocalized that and
Mm,
said, I don't feel like I actually get to relax. I'm constantly taking care of everything. You get to get up early and go for a stroll on the beach. I don't get to do that because who's going to be here for the kids? You already got up and
yeah.
you left while I was still sleeping.
Yeah. That's definitely a conversation.
Right? Or
Yes.
like, I know that you want to go someplace that has like, eggs Benedict, but the kids aren't going to eat anything but cereal. So we can't do what you want to do necessarily because you have to be thoughtful of everybody. That's how I see it. So I do know I made problems. I made
Oh,
problems.
there is some other issues though going on there. This is not your fault, Brie. We're going to talk about
Yes.
that right after this.
Long gone are the days of waiting to be seen in a doctor's office only to have that awkward conversation with your healthcare provider. Wisp gives you access to sexual and reproductive healthcare from the comfort of your home. Get treatment for BV, yeast infections, UTIs, and much more delivered directly to your home or ready for pickup at your local pharmacy in less than 3 hours. The best part? Wisp is discreet, convenient, and you don't need medical insurance to receive care or prescription medication. Visit us today at hellowisp.com.
So, Brie, remember when we first started using Lumen and we were like, wait, what? My breath can tell me what fuel my body is burning?
I know. And now it's just like a regular part of my routine. Like in the morning, it's coffee, lumen breath check, and boom, I know if I'm burning carbs or fat that day.
What I love is that Lumen doesn't just give you random data, it actually guides you, like whether it's what to eat, how to work out, or even how to manage your stress.
Lumen even adjusts to your cycle or, in like my case, perimenopause. So your recommendations stay personalized even if your body changes.
It has helped me understand my body on a whole new level. And no, it's not a quick fix. It's actually real insight that helps you make better choices over time. Like for me, ice cream at 9 p.m. will not help me wake up and fat burn, Brie. The warmer months are here. If you're ready to feel more energized, more in control, and more confident in your health, head to lumen.me/guilt for 10% off. That's LUMEN.me/guilt for 10% off.
Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode.
If you've ever looked at your kids' homework and thought, wait, when did math get so complicated? You're not alone.
Let's be real, not every kid fits into the one-size-fits-all classroom model. And that's where K-12 Powered Schools comes in.
K-12 offers tuition-free, online accredited public school for grades K through 12. Your kid learns at their pace, in their space, with teachers who are actually trained in online education.
And don't worry, this isn't homeschooling where you have to actually do all the teaching. K-12 provides certified teachers, an engaging curriculum, and even social activities and in-person events to help keep kids connected.
Join the more than 3 million families who have been served by K-12 and empower your student to reach their full potential now. Visit k12.com/ngm to find a tuition-free K-12 powered school near you and enroll now. That's the letter K, the number 12.com/ngm. k12.com/ngm. So before the break, you were talking a little bit about talking with a partner who decided to leave when the kids were still asleep, and therefore you couldn't leave because someone had to be there with the kids, or the partner wanting to do eggs Benedict and there was nothing for the kids to eat. It is so funny because it reminds me of a conversation I had with my husband. I had taken the kids to San Francisco on my own. This was about 2 years ago. And my husband was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that." And I think everyone around me was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that."
Oh, I
Like,
was
how
that
could
way
you
too.
go?
I remember
Yeah.
when you went on that trip, I was like, oh my God, you're crazy.
You're like, "I don't get it." And I went on that trip, and yeah, there were some challenges in it that I did have to solve, but ultimately it was a really great trip, really easy trip. Really, like, I just kind of went with the flow and we figured out things as we went. My husband came back and I tell him, I'm like, "Yeah, it was a great trip. I don't have anything to complain about." And he sits there and he says, "Maybe the reason I don't like vacationing with the kids is me."
Oh my God. What did you do? Or you like just, I would have been like Homer Simpson in that gif, just slowly moving back into the bushes. Never
No.
mind.
Well, because he does have some very kind of set expectations and set behaviors that he likes to do. I was reminded of it when you said the eggs Benedict thing for breakfast and then, the kids not wanting to do it. Case in point, it's easier for him now to travel with our kids because we can leave them alone
Yeah.
places. They're older. For instance, we wanted to, when we were in New York City, go on this walk, which is about a mile away, to this Irish bread scone place that I had found on Instagram that I had to
remember
go
you
to.
talking about that. Yes. Okay.
And both of the kids were complaining, "Oh, I don't want to walk that far. Oh, why do you want to do that?" And because they're older, we were just like, "Cool, stay here." And we left them sleeping in the hotel room while we went to go get Irish scones. And it was a lovely morning, and the scones were delicious. And my husband didn't have to deal with their complaining because their complaining is awful. When I go on vacation with my kids, I am usually negotiating with them to be like, "Okay, here is my one thing that I want to do. I want to do this.
Yeah.
So come on this one thing, no complaining, and then we can go do something else that you want to do and something you want to do. You guys get to pick it, and we don't complain about what the other picks." And that's how we work it. But my husband is not down with going on the kids' choices at all.
Yeah.
Like, he
Well,
doesn't want to go to McDonald's at all.
I can get that.
Yeah.
My daughter is still obsessed with Denny's. She loves herself a good Grand Slam breakfast. And so, like, we'll go places and she'll be like, "Is there a Denny's nearby?" And both my husband and I, my current husband, Miguel, will be like, "Ugh, Denny's?
Denny's.
Ugh. Can't we go somewhere with a little more local flair?" I do get that. It's hard. So wait, let's back this up. There's a couple of things that we need to share to help everybody out there that feels like vacations are not vacations for you. They're a work trip. They're a family trip. Some of the things that we can do to reset the mindset. One thing that I had a realization on is that I probably should have just shared with the family that that's how I felt. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that anybody would have stuck up their hand right away and been like, I'll plan a vacation, mommy. None of that. But I do think that would have made a difference. I mean, you can't fix a problem if you don't know it's there, right?
Very true. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think talking about it to other people and letting them know that you do not want to be the one who's in charge. Because again, I'm pretty sure my family, when we go as a big group, they have me do it because they just assume that I'm okay with it, and I'm not.
And there's also this dynamic that can exist with family members refusing to speak up about the itinerary. I know this because I see it in my extended family. I
Okay.
have a family member who plans vacations down to almost the minute, stuffs it with activities so that when, for instance, another family member comes into town, I'm doing a really good job trying to be anonymous here. that person gets stressed out and is like, oh, my mom has it planned from like sunrise to sunset, everything we're going to do. And it's just going to be exhausting. So yeah, we can meet up. I have a free hour right here, a free afternoon here where there's nothing planned for us to do. But there's no conversation about how that's not needed or like how it's, hey, you don't have to do this. This isn't
Yeah.
an expectation for you.
And chances are good the person that's doing all that planning thinks that that's what a good host is. That's
Yeah,
what you're
exactly.
supposed to do. And
When everyone else is just exhausted.
right. And I think some of that boils over from like our parents' generation, that boomer generation of like, you're supposed to be a good host or hostess and whatever, and what a vacation is supposed to look like. Because if you think about like us growing up with, National Lampoon Vacation.
Yeah, they have all these activities and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
You think that's what it should be. But for a lot of us in the hectic day-to-day life we have now, to me, my favorite is like just walking around with no plans and I'm not checking my phone except to see what time it is. That's
Yeah,
what I
it's
love.
funny because you and I are both very similar in terms of vacations. Like we can like go into a day with no plans at all and be totally happy. I know that my daughter and my husband, they do not like that. They
Yeah.
want to know what the plans are. Even if the plans are just like we're going to go into this area, maybe see this one thing, then we'll go to lunch. They have to know what's coming up. That helps them with anxiety and
So how
like
do you
pressure.
handle that? I'm curious because I think a lot of our listeners are probably in that dilemma where they want to have less control. They want to have more freedom, but they have certain people that in their family that are going to push back against it and be like, that's not okay.
It's knowing, I think, the different personality dynamics in your family and knowing
Okay.
how you react to them. I mean, there was just a situation when we went to New York that I think I discussed on the podcast where we were coming out of a show and I really wanted to go to Milk Bar to get
Oh,
a
yeah.
piece of the Milk Bar pie. But it was like 10 at night. My daughter wanted to get back to the hotel. I had planned this route so that it was just getting off at a subway stop, one stop before. And the Milk Bar location was on our walk back to the hotel. And my husband, knowing this change of plans, hearing my daughter complaining, it was stressing him out. And usually he said he would have shut down, but instead he took us to the side of the road and he's like, I just need to know the plan. What is going on right now? And that's when I told him my whole plan. He's like, okay, that makes sense. Let's go. So he just needed to be informed in the situation and keep that together. I mean, that whole instance, I had to concentrate on what made me happy. I wanted a piece of that Milk Bar pie. I wanted it. Was my family entirely happy? No, they were not. My husband kept it together. My son felt like we were in a dangerous area because it was night and we were walking the streets of New York. We were not in a dangerous area. It was Soho. It was fine. There were people outside. It was fine.
Yeah. I've been there with the
And
kids like that. Yeah.
yeah. And so he was really stressed out and no one was happy. And so as I was walking down the street, I'm like, oh, this is such a good Milk Bar. Like, I'm just trying to keep in mind like what makes me happy. And it ended up at the end because I was able to keep myself under control because I was able to keep my mood solid. My son ended up apologizing to me, as did my daughter, because they realized how they were acting in the situation out of fear. And it did work out. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard making everyone happy. It's impossible.
Right. So I think that's also a mind shift change that we need to have for vacations. We both say this all the time. Okay, guys, this advice is coming from your friends of raising children future. Okay.
Mhm.
Older kid future. We can tell you that it does get better, that it doesn't matter how much you plan your vacations. There are going to be muck ups where things are going to not go the way they're supposed to. There's going to be fights. There's going to be meltdowns. There's going to be people forgetting their underwear. It's
Mhm.
going to happen, but that doesn't mean that, oh my God, the entire trip is ruined. It's all on you to come up with the solution. It's not. It's
No,
not. So,
it's not. One little thing does not make a ruined trip. So
yes.
right after this break, we are going to give you 3 things to keep in mind to make your next vacation actually enjoyable.
When you hear Lululemon, you probably think of Align yoga pants, weightlessly soft, like you're wearing next to nothing. That's why you see them in class, at the grocery store, and in the park. But did you know about skirts with built-in liner shorts so you can still jump for the frisbee? And tanks and bodysuits? With Align's iconic stretch, you won't want to take it off. And with endless style options, you don't have to. Shop in-store or online at lululemon.com.
Paradise is back
It's finally here.
in a new location, Costa Rica. There will be adventure, drama, and romance,
All gas, no brakes. That's my vibe.
Ready to find some love.
but it wouldn't be paradise without surprises along the way.
These kids need to learn.
That's right, your favorite Golden alums are crashing the beach,
We bring in a party, baby.
Bachelor in Paradise premieres Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
This MailChimp-verific jingle is brought to you by MailChimp.
MailChimp, your marketing with AI and more. Advanced automations to connect to your store. MailChimp, your marketing and boost your clicks. Multi-channel campaigns now with SMS. That's lit.
MailChimp your marketing today with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-on. Visit MailChimp.com.
Okay, Brie, let's start in with these 3 things that moms can do, especially if you are a mom who feels like it is all on you to make the best vacation possible for your family. So the first thing is to divide and conquer.
Yes. And this is what I was talking about before. Talking to your partner, talking to the rest of your family, depending upon the age. Like if they're 3, I don't know how much. I'll go into some really high level, just basic skim at the top of things. And if you got a teenager, I would go into a lot more details. But sharing the mental load before the trip, have a family meeting, talk about what we got to pack, what kind of food is going to be there, what's going to be expected with the meals, what kind of behavior, like are we eating at home? Are you going to have to help cook? Are we going to restaurants? Navigation, like how are we getting there? What kind of modes of transportation are there going to be? Because like you just said with your New York story, nothing freaks out a kid more than having to walk through a city with crowded streets when they live in the suburbs in Phoenix.
Yeah. And the streets are dark and they've heard all these
know,
things about New
right?
York being so dangerous.
And they're
Yes.
like, how are we outside and not melting?
Yeah, no, but and it brings up an interesting point because having that family meeting and talking about the mental load, because when I first started doing this with my husband, he pointed out that some things that I was worried about, was nervous about, he thought were not needed. And I thought they were needed. And what we did is some things he was able to convince me. He's like, okay, well, if we forget that, we could just go here. And I'm like, okay, no, you got a point. And some things he wasn't able to convince me. And those things that he wasn't able to convince me, I did one of 2 things. I either decided, okay, this is my thing. I care about it. I'm going to take it on. I don't suggest doing that with many things. Really just one if you're very, very, very certain it needs to be done. But the other thing I did is like, hey, this one really, really stresses me out. Do you mind taking this one and handling it since it doesn't stress you out? And usually he's like, yeah, sure. And then I left it to him. It was his responsibility. So if anything happened with it, he was the one who would need to problem solve to figure out how to fix the thing, not me.
Yep. I think that is brilliant because, again, if you're the only one maintaining the list and it's a mental list, then how can anybody help you with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So share, divide and conquer. All right. Let's jump into tip number 2. Take a vacation block.
Yeah. So pick 1 to 2 hours a day. That's yours. take it off. You get it time off. It's funny. When I was a camp counselor, we used to get 2 hours a day off to ourselves
Oh,
every
that's
day
so
during camp.
important.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was a 24-hour gig. We
Yeah.
stayed in the units with the kids. We needed that time to ourselves. At another
Yeah.
place I was a camp counselor, we had our nights off, except for nights that we were on duty. So you need that too as a parent.
Mhm.
Mine are usually in the morning because I am the one person in my family who does not sleep in. Like I just go, "Bong!" Like I am up. I will go to the gym. I will go on a
Yes.
walk
I've
around. I
tried to
will
break
go.
you of it. It hasn't
No, it
worked.
won't work. I will sit down in
Mm-mm.
the lobby and just like read, or like I'll take my laptop because I like to work and fiddle with things. Yeah, find that block. What block do you take, Brie?
Okay. So, first of all, I want to say that if you are passing over this piece of advice, stop. Don't. This
Mhm.
is so important. You are around your family all the time. All the time. Your vacation should include more than just you peeing by yourself. All
Yeah.
right. It should include more than that. So, when I'm looking for something that's my own, it's normally my two favorite go-to vacation things. And you know, my favorite vacation is a beach vacation. So they're going to pretty much be beach vacation things, I'm going to say. But I love getting a really good iced coffee in the morning, sitting somewhere scenic where we're at, and just reading a book or reading the news on my phone. I like being able to read in a very calm atmosphere where I'm not feeling pressured to go do the next thing and the next thing, and the next thing.
Mhm.
So that's one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is if I'm by the beach, just sitting by the beach. I could just go to the beach. I'm perfectly fine sitting there by myself.
Yeah.
I think that's where everybody found me during the whole no guilt mom retreat in Cancun. I was almost always at the beach.
Sitting by
So,
the beach. Yeah, it's a
yep.
great thing to do. And then our third tip for you is to plan for imperfection.
Ugh.
Because
Yeah.
man, it is going to happen. And by planning for imperfection, you then, when it comes up, you're not shameful to yourself. You're not saying, why didn't I think of this? You're just taking it as it is. It's messy. Family vacations are messy. The imperfection and the mess ups are usually where you get the best stories all the time.
Right?
Mhm.
Honestly, if you think back to your vacations growing up, the ones that you probably remember the most are not the most perfect ones.
Mhm.
They're probably, like you just said, the silly moments where everybody was able to laugh about something. Every once in a while, those perfectly planned, perfectly curated moments do stick around long term in our minds. But I do find that the imperfections are normally the better ones. And then the other thing, too, is that if you're not expecting, and I don't want to say plan for the imperfections necessarily, because if they're like me, JoAnn, then they're going to carry an entire pharmacy with them and they're going to bring.
Which has helped me on occasion, your entire pharmacy. Yes.
It does. It
Yes.
does. We always know when we go on trips as a business that Brie has the meds.
Yep.
Brie has the meds. JoAnn has the tech. Brie
That's
has the
right. Yeah.
meds. JoAnn's got the tech. That's just funny how that goes. But I want to say, like, just be aware that mess ups are going to happen. You are perfectly capable of working through them. You work through them when you guys are at home. You can work through them when you're out somewhere else. It's not the end of the world.
And not letting them derail you, because I hear
Yeah.
from a lot of
Steal your
people that,
joy,
like,
right?
yeah, they steal your joy. I mean,
Yeah.
just at our vacation in New York City, we decided to go to the top of One World Trade Center to the sky deck. And I think I've been at every single sky deck now in New York. I love sky decks. Like, I will go, and because I just love them. I love looking out on the city. I know you do not love them. You do not love the heights.
We went to a rooftop bar and I was like, I'm good here. I'm good in the middle of the rooftop bar.
I'm
I
good
can see
here.
the city from a distance. We're good.
Yeah. So I love heights. I love looking down on the city. I could have spent so much more time there. My kids went into moping mode 5 minutes in. 5 minutes in. If I had focused on them moping, that would have been totally unenjoyable. I would have said they ruined the entire experience for me. I would have had to go back. And I think that's what we let happen to us. Like, we think
Yeah.
that our kids' happiness is essential to us being happy, and it's just not the case. Now, with toddlers, if they throw a tantrum, yeah, they're going to ruin the whole trip. I would not recommend
Well, not the whole trip. They're going to
not
ruin that moment.
that experience for you. If I had a toddler with me on top of One World Trade and they're like, "Ma, let's go." Like, I am totally responsible for that little human being. They can't go off by themselves whatsoever. And
Yeah.
so I'm screwed. That's it for me. Well, I mean, I say that in a way because it's just expectations, you know?
Right. And I wanted to be clear, like we're talking about how, oh, if a toddler has a tantrum, they'll ruin everything. We don't mean that in a bad toddler type of moment. We're just acknowledging, and that's the other thing too, that we need to make sure that we remember. We are allowed to be mad. We're allowed to be pissed off. We're allowed to be frustrated. We're allowed to be excited and happy, enthralled, relaxed. All of those emotions are allowed. I guess what we're saying more so is be prepared for the frustration and for things not working out the way that you tried to perfectly plan it. Because perfectly planned plans are still going to crash.
Yeah, but with like the One World Trade Center, I was just able to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to stay here for a while, look out the windows. And my kids like just kind of huffed around on the sky deck, but I didn't have to see them. They were doing their own thing. They were able to go through their mood on their own. And they actually came out on the other side and was like, okay, this is cool. This is okay. But also like, I would never have planned to spend an hour on top of the sky deck if I had a toddler with me. That would probably be unrealistic expectations on my part.
Right?
And with a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old, that's okay. They can take care of their own emotions in that moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if there is one thing we want you guys to take away from this episode, it's that give yourself permission to do less while you're on vacation. It's okay. The world isn't going to fall apart. The vacation isn't going to fall apart because, again, you're going to follow those 3 pieces of advice. 1, divide and conquer. Talk about it beforehand so you're not holding it all. Tip 2, take a vacation block. Make sure you've got those times for you to do the things that are going to make you feel happy and fulfilled.
Yeah.
And 3, just know that things are going to go wrong. It's going to happen.
I want to add a little bonus packing tip here because it is something I live by. The only thing that you need to make sure that you have is your medication, because that is the hardest thing to replace when on vacation. Medication. And if you're going on a cruise, I don't know if this still is, you need to get some ibuprofen, because the last time I was on a cruise, they had no ibuprofen because it masks COVID symptoms. And they didn't want anyone masking the COVID symptoms.
Interesting. I would think Tylenol would do the same thing, but all right. Interesting.
Tylenol as well. There was no pain relievers on that entire cruise ship. It was awful. It was awful. And who got COVID on the cruise ship? We all did.
I'm like, that was back in 2021, right?
No, it was our Alaska cruise in 2023.
Oh, God. Okay. I don't remember being that late, but, time kind of blurs together. That's luckily, when you needed your pharmacy friend on that trip,
luckily, I had been traveling with you now for such a long time that I had my pharmacy on me, and I was the ibuprofen source for the entire family.
I love that. I love that. One of my weird, quirky things about me worked out in a positive way for someone else. I love that.
Yes. Always have to travel with pain relievers, for sure. Yeah. Well, we hope that your summer vacations are stress-free and they are more like vacations than trips for you.
Yes.
And until next time, remember, the best mom's a happy mom. Take care of you. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for stopping by.
If you'd like to support the show further, you can share episodes with your loved ones, leave a positive review, or follow us on social media at No Guilt Mom. You could also show your love by visiting our amazing podcast sponsors. We have a link in the show notes.